Hey, you guys. I wanted to come on here and talk about 2025 and what an interesting, that's a nice word, year that it has been for us all. I wanted to do like a year recap review because, wow, I actually just saw a video that said we should have known what 2025 was going to be like when it started off with the days WTF. What the fuck? Oh my gosh, we should have. Um, I have felt it on a personal level all year long, and I have seen people around me, both spiritual friends and spiritual community, as well as like regular life friends who can be on spiritual paths too, but less actively, we'll say. But I've seen like lots of people across the spectrum going through the same thing, going through these similar experiences. And it's clear to me that even though at an individual level, it might be very specific to you on what you're experiencing, I can see it reverberating across the collective that everybody's going through similar themed experiences. So like maybe you two people don't have the exact same experiences, but it's the same overall theme of what's happening in everybody's lives across the collective. And that's why I want to do this 2025 like recap, because I find it so interesting, and I feel like we should all take a moment to recognize this, to even like have your own, like, as I'm talking about this, like go through your own personal experiences over the course of the year. And and just like, okay, so back in March, April, I did a video talking about the astrology of the time. I thought it was just for the spring, but apparently it was the whole year. I'm not an astrology expert. I learned this from watching some other videos, and it really resonated with me, which is why I recorded it at the time. So back then, like, I was starting to feel it and starting to see it. And now in hindsight, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, I'm looking back at my notes. I'm like, holy crap. And that's what I mean here. Like, take a moment to reflect on what you've been through this year and what the theme was for this year astrologically, and you take from it whatever you need. Like sometimes we need to take a moment to reflect and be like, oh yeah, like that makes so much sense now. What lessons do you need to take from it? What new insight or perspective does it give you moving forward, essentially? Okay, so like, each of us, like I said, has had our own personal experiences we've gone through. I don't want to like go on about that in depth, about myself or others, but I'll touch on it here and there. Really, just like take a moment to reflect back on this for yourself over the course of the year. So this is the quote that I had written down to start off that video back in the spring. It may have felt like you're going backwards, but you're not. You're going through a life review to see the past from a higher perspective in order to move beyond it. Deep review of relationships, finances, self-worth, soul's desires, mind shifts, mindfulness, re-evaluation of all connections and communications, recalibration of your entire life to release what's not in alignment with your soul-led path, changes, realignment, and integrating everything that's come up for life review. Supercharge new beginnings and chapters, purpose, and leadership. Well, that's where it's leading. That's where it's leading for the year of the horse, 2026. But, oh my gosh, everything else it said there, like rereading it now, I'm like, holy crap, like that's exactly what this year has been for me. More than I could have imagined back in the spring. I mean, I have really been going through a lot this year. Like, I have felt bad not being on here online in my community as much as I have in the past. Like, I've just been dealing with so much this year. It's been a very difficult year for lots of different reasons. I don't want to get into all of them for various reasons. But, just to summarize, like literally all aspects of my life, like my twin flame journey has been going through ups and downs. mostly due to, external causes impacting us, but pushing us into introspective periods and, personal evolution periods before we like reconnect and make, like, we have to go through some transitions personally because of that. So like we've been dealing with that. Professionally, my spiritual business has been going through an evolution and transitions that I'm actually excited about what I'm going to be bringing forward for you guys in 2026. I won't get into that right now, but like I'm going to start offering workshops on some stuff I'm working on, certifications I'm working on, in addition to my normal stuff that I'm super excited about. But that's been going through an evolution, and dealing with that and trying to find a work-life balance this year has been really, really difficult, which is why it's been so hard for me to be online. And then other relationships, other friendships and family relationships have really been going through ups and downs too. And it all comes back to exactly what I just read, this releasing anything that's not in alignment with your soul-led path. With the other relationships, for me, it's been ending karmic cycles, breaking down of relationships and situations and karmic cycles that are not meant to move forward with me or are meant to evolve in a different way, where the relationship is just not going to be the same anymore for various reasons. Depends on the person. But like all of it, all combined, has just been so much on me as an individual, like emotionally and mentally. It's been like it's just all been a lot for me to handle and process as one person, as one adult in the household. And I can't even find the words. Like, it's just been a lot. It's been a very up and down for me emotionally and mentally, and difficult to handle. And if I'm going through that and I'm seeing all these other people around me going through that too, like, this is why I want to talk about it, because I know that it's a thing, it's happening across the collective. And I want everyone to basically like just like take a moment to reflect on that for yourself. And we can easily get entrenched in the 3D effects of all of this on us. We can easily get stuck in the 3D thinking and the stress and overthinking and worrying and the emotions. But take a step back and go over that in your mind of, okay, well, what am I supposed to take from this? Look at the spiritual perspective or the higher perspective, the bigger picture, however you want to think of it. Where is this leading you? Where does it feel like it's meant to lead you? And things like that. Integrate what you're supposed to take from this so that you can move forward in the best way possible. I also want to point out that I feel like most people are expecting these shifts from the end of this theme of this year, end of the year of the snake, however you are focusing on it. A lot of people are expecting that to change like now, because New Year's is in a few days. But I want to remind you that this is not really the true end of the year. It's the end of the year after the calendar was changed by the Romans at a certain time in history. But we know now that the true end of the year was in March after winter. And in addition to that, if you are going by the Chinese astrology and New Year, the Chinese New Year isn't even until February 17th. And the shift from the year of the snake to the year of the horse is actually February 3rd, when the zodiac changes in the Chinese calendar. So I am expecting that we're still going to be feeling the transitions out of the year of the snake, which is the shedding of the old versions of ourselves and embracing the new beginnings, like the year of the horse, forward movement, the new beginnings, right? I'm expecting that transition to still be felt at least over January and parts of February. And who knows, like, exactly what that transition period is going to be like. It could even go into March. Who knows? So just keep that in mind also, okay? I feel like coming out of the holidays, we should treat this as a time to start, like, shifting our perspectives for the forward movement and the new beginnings, but know that it's still going to be a little bit of a process, okay? So let's review a little bit more of the highlights from that astrology video that I did in March, April, whenever it was. I did a couple actually. So that's why I knew it was around that time. But anyway, you can find it on my YouTube if you want to watch it in depth. But I want to reread some of that because it just stands out so significantly for me now in hindsight, looking back at 2025. And like I said in the first video, take this moment to self-reflect on what your year has been like, what your experiences have been in all aspects of your life. And this is talking about a life review, but treat it as a year review of, okay, what was I meant to learn from this? How am I moving forward? And you know what? So that first quote, it talked about a life review, looking back and deeper into relationships and connections and all sort of finances, self-worth, soul's desires, mindfulness, all that stuff. Recalibrating your life to what is soul aligned. One thing that I noticed this year was there was several things, for me at least, that specifically pointed back to 5 years ago. I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but for me, that was a highlight, pointing to 5 years ago. There were some of the other relationships that went through a reevaluation, go back longer, but there was some specific things that I could pinpoint to 5 years ago. And I find that very interesting too. So you guys may have stuff like that also. But okay, there's this one section here it's a little bit longer, but I feel like it's worth reading because we can really each reflect on it more and more. You might even want to pause and journal about this, to be honest. Like, there's 7 bullet points, and it might be beneficial to you for shadow work or integration of your healing process. So this is an emotional period because you reflect on your youth, childhood, how you were raised, and your relationship with how you love yourself. Now, here's the 7 bullet points. Number 1, old wounds and unresolved emotions resurfacing, particularly around relationships. Number 2, romantic nostalgia during life review and reflecting on emotions and lessons from past relationships of any kind. Number 3, repressed emotions can surface and purge and then focus on self-love and care. Remember that you have to love yourself fully first before someone else can. Someone else's love cannot replace or fill the void from a lack of self-love, but many people are in relationships for that purpose and they seek validation from their partners for that reason. They expect their partners to fill that void, but only you can. For twin flames, you cannot achieve union when you're in that mindset. That's part of the journey, healing your wounds and loving yourself so you don't need that from an external source from your twin. Number 4, re-evaluation of your worth, both internally and externally, including finances. How you uphold your worth, how you ask for your worth, how you expect or allow other people to treat you, and how you treat yourself pertaining to that. Possible career moves or research into other opportunities. Number 5, increased introspection and mood swings. You'll be extra sensitive, so you can be triggered and can trigger others as well. Solitude is a good thing right now. Let's keep in mind that when other people are triggered, that's their own stuff that they're going through. Let's not take it onto ourselves personally, okay? Number 6, refining relationships with people, finances, money, worth, careers, self-worth, and love, and image. Diet, and image would be diet, exercise, wardrobe, anything like that. Have you been keeping up with the Joneses or making appearances for other people? Authenticity rules and is taking over now. And number 7, anything built on illusions, dependency, unworthiness, 3D conditioning, cultural, society, family conditioning, religion, religious conditioning will all be exposed and shed with the year of the snake so that we can follow our soul-led paths. Expect to spend time in solitude. It's good for you. It's not a bad thing. Jumping from relationship to relationship is actually the bad thing because you need time to focus on yourself and heal. 9 is universal year, so it's required as part of your process to spend time in solitude. That's when you hear your soul speak. That's when you also release buried emotions and wounds, which is an important part of your healing process. This is a recalibration. If anything feels unstable, it's because outdated patterns are being dismantled. You're not losing anything. Remember that. You're releasing the past and finding new authentic aspects of yourself and your life. You're stepping into who you really are on multiple levels. Authenticity is the foundation of self-love, and no external validation from anyone else or for anything can replace that. So going along with all of this, you may be going through periods of chaos in your external life or chaos internally in your mind. This has to happen as part of releasing the old to allow the new to enter, releasing the old version of yourself and the old influences around you. But some of you, it may feel more haphazard or even aggressive than others. Focus on restoring your inner balance and harmony so that you can work through this chaos as peacefully as possible. Make yourself the project during this period rather than blaming others or blaming external causes, because that's what the ego wants to do rather than taking accountability for what you need to work on within yourself. Take responsibility and accountability so that you can grow and evolve and integrate your healing so that you don't have to repeat these lessons and you can move forward. Clear your energy space and expand your heart space so that your soul can come through you physically as well. And Neptune shifting into Aries means practical spirituality moving forward, which means embracing 5D living, integrating your spiritual life with your 3D life, no longer separating them, no longer feeling like you have to separate them. We are the torchbearers for this. We're the way showers leading humanity, of no longer feeling like we need to hide, make ourselves smaller or silence ourselves because we're too not mainstream, we're too spiritual, we're too different from society. No, it's time for us to start happily, openly living our lives as we are and showing humanity the shift in spiritual awakening and awareness and enlightenment moving forward, because that is part of the ascension process as well. And if you're going through it, that's why, for you to help lead others through that process. Okay? And I loved that back in the spring, and I definitely feel, to me, that is a huge part of the shift in relationships overall in my life, like all relationships, friendships, family relationships, everything, and situations as well. And when you're doing work that's not aligned with you, like you're going to struggle with it because it's not soul aligned, and you're going to feel more stress and struggle in living that life if it's not resonating with your soul. Allow whatever is in your highest good to come into alignment, however that needs to play out. There will be endings and new beginnings, changes in relationships, career, and more. Chaos because it's upending what needs to be realigned and recalibrated for your soul-led life. We allow it because it's soul-led, and when it's finished, painful episodes will lessen and we will have greater meaning, satisfaction, happiness, and peace. And lastly, she pointed out that this was Elizabeth Peru, by the way. She pointed out that they say that this is Kali Yuga ending, which is a Hindu tradition. Kali Yuga was the Dark Ages, and it should have ended, I shouldn't even say should have. It ended around March 21st, and this would have felt like the end of an era, a doorway closing and a new higher gateway for our highest good opening up. This is all aligned for a reason. I have felt it this year. I know that many, if not most of you have too. So know that you're not crazy. We're all going through the same thing. This is the year of the empowered soul, and it is a pivotal year for breakthroughs, changeover, and transformation, recalibration, and initiation. So embrace every day being open to the new. Allow your own wise divine soul to lead you, to take over from the ego, and don't be in resistance to this, because the more you're in resistance to this, the harder it's going to be, the more painful it's going to be. So that was a recap of my video from this spring, which now I'm like, holy crap, so spot on. I have felt it. I know from conversations that many of you have as well. So just take a moment and reflect on this so that you can make sure that you're integrating the lessons and the growth that you need to, so that you can move forward and we can release this, leave this behind as we shift forward into the year of the horse, 2026. Hallelujah. Please let the new beginnings come in now and leave the difficulties of 2025 behind. So I hope this helped you guys.